Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Desktop Army Volume 1 set of the Sylphy Series Beta series. It's a kind of a long and weird name. I don't really know how to go about that, but this is basically part of the Desktop Army series, which is a series of these kind of small, articulated little plastic figures, kind of like candy toys. I'm not sure if these actually specifically candy toys, if there is any candy included with them, I'm not sure, but they're basically that, kind of similar to maybe something like the Assault Kingdom line or the Universal Unit line maybe in Gundam. But obviously, as you can see here, they're basically kind of like little robot girls, kind of like similar to the Frame Arms girl line. So it's kind of like little SD candy toys frame arm girls, basically. And they all have all sorts of different weapon accessories, and there are actually frame arm girl versions of these as well. This particular set is not based on a particular frame arms girl design. I think this is just an original design for these. So they're sold as the Alpha set and the Beta set. So I got the Beta set here, which includes the Scout, the Launcher, and the Phalanx. But then the Alpha set includes the Striker, the Interceptor, and the Sniper. Just this one box of the three of them costs around 5,000 yen, so they're not very cheap. Like almost 50 bucks for a set of the three of these. I saw these a long time ago when they first came out. Well, not that long ago. They've only been out for maybe a couple of years now. And they look really cool in the pictures, but then when I saw them in the stores in Japan, I just thought the quality of them didn't really look quite as good. But I've heard a lot of good things, and they look really cool, so I wanted to just go ahead and give them a try, and figure I basically treat them like Converge figures or whatever, where I'll plan on doing a little bit of detail painting and like just detail work on them to make them look a little bit nicer. So if the quality is really that bad, that'll just give me more opportunity to try to improve on them. So anyway, with these three we got in here, the Scout, the Launcher, and the Phalanx. As you can see, they've got some different, basically different armaments and different parts for the head as well. And so they look pretty cool. You can't really tell from this box art with it being all black and white, but they're kind of like white and green and yellow kind of color. So let's just get into it, shall we? And hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised at the quality of them. So, there we go. Once you get it open, just got three boxes like this. There you go. Much more colorful, much nicer boxes compared to the outer box. So there's just the set of three of them in here, and they don't really seem to be, as far as I can tell, marked on the outside which one is which. So I think they're meant to just kind of be random, but I'm guessing there's one of each in here. If not, that would kind of suck. But I think there should be one of each in here. So it's just basically this artwork here, which is really nice. I quite like the artwork for that as well, and you can get a better idea of the color scheme for these. Like I said, white and kind of like a seafoam green color, and then yellow and black for accents on there. So they look pretty cool. This is all in Japanese, so I don't know really what all that's about, but just some more information about that. These are designed by Blade. It's a cool nickname, bro. Let's get one popped open here and see what they're all about. 3 pieces of tape, eh? Okay. Ooh, bubble wrap even. Okay. There's going to be some building required. Okay, I didn't know that. I figured this was just going to be all completely put together, but looks like we're going to have some joint parts there in a kind of flesh tone color. Some yellow parts here on the F runners. These are actually on marked runners, even all of that. So another just gray runner here, which looks like kind of a base, and maybe some parts for that. And then this would be some other accessories for this. So it looks like maybe just all the weapons and everything are you have to build. Here's the figure itself. So the figure itself is just all like this. You just have to kind of cut and put together the weapons for it, which is interesting. So maybe they're all going to include this same like base figure like this. Let's just take a look at this by itself here real quick first. Before that, also included here is the instructions for that. So this one would be the Phalanx, and here is some stickers for that. Unfortunately, not waterside decals. I thought they were at first, but no, these are just stickers. And also, these are made by Megahouse, in case you were wondering, the company that makes these. But there you go. So you can see you do have some stickers that you can use for that. This would be cool, like for a base or something, obviously. So included here in this first bag, as you can see, is the main figure, and the pre-painting on the face does look really nice. It's really crisp, really clean, and really bright colors on there. That all looks really good, and the painting on everything else also looks pretty nice. I think better than what I remember seeing when I had seen them on display before. Now you will have like a little bit of flash on just some of the little bits here and there. I mean, just like mold lines from the molding process, with it being just kind of a simple, I'm guessing PVC plastic. Not sure about that actually, I could be wrong. But anyway, it does seem overall pretty nice. All the painting and all of the just cleanliness of this just straight out of the box does seem pretty good. So for articulation, we have up and down movement here at the neck. And of course, you can rotate that around, all that as well. Here in the shoulders, looks like those are going to go up really only to about maybe there. But we do have some optional joints, which will, I think, give us more range of movement. So I think these are the parts that you can swap out for the joints if you want, and you'll see that you do have the option of if you want a skin tone or gray. So if you wanted this to look like, for example, this joint here being one of the ones that it shows in the manual to replace with the more long one to get more of a bend here in the hips, you can use the skin tone one for that if you want. Anyway, and then here at the elbow, you get more than a 90-degree bend there at the elbow, so that's pretty good. One thing that I don't really care for too much about the design of these is the hand, it being just this kind of big block Lego hand on there or something. It looks a bit odd, but anyway, that's what we get. And then down here at the waist, like I said, this joint is shorter, so it is going to be a little bit limited in the articulation of the hip there, but you can swap it out to the longer one. We'll see how that works here in a minute. And then the knee also going to give you just about 90 degrees there. And then for the feet, you do also have these extra bits here if you don't want just these small little pointed bits for the feet. Plug these bits on there to make that more of a foot, so that I guess should stand easier like that if you wanted to have this just standing by itself. And here's one of the things I'm talking about just like when I meant like the cleanliness of the kit. You see it's all white, so it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but there's a little nub mark on there. So just like the seam lines or the mold lines from the molding process and the nubs from that as well, just from the manufacturing. Things like that I think you might have to clean up a little bit on here, and so of course there's going to be a little bit seam lines here and there too, where you could go in and do some panel lining extra on this. Add any decals or anything if you wanted as well. So there is that. We do have an option face as well, so if you wanted, you can use this other face. I'm not really sure exactly what you would call that, but there you go, that's the other face included. Let me get the weapons built up and we'll see how those look here. Okay, so first I just want to demonstrate the improved articulation of the extended joint here for the hips. So you can see with that, it looks a bit weird with it being so kind of long and sticking out like that. But this extended hip joint will allow you to bring the leg very far forward in front of the body, like so, or, whatever other weird pose you may want to do with that, you will be able to do that. And also just to demonstrate the skin tone color of that. So again, you have skin tone parts here, it looks like, for just this hip joint here, basically, as well as the skin tone neck joint, but that is actually different. I noticed that the necks on the two heads are different. So you can see for this head, it's basically just the head, and then the neck's a separate piece, where this one, the head and neck, is all kind of molded as one solid piece there. So here is the included stand, and there's a couple points of articulation in this. You can bend that, and it's got a ratchet joint there, so that will bend and stay very firm. And the same thing here at the top too, that's also in a ratchet joint, very firm. And then the whole thing itself can rotate. And this will just plug into the back. I assume just either one of those places will work, but it should just fit into there just fine. You'll notice it's kind of like not really tall enough. We have a whole bunch of extra parts for the base. Here we are, and I'm really unsure as to how to use some of these actually. So you have like this piece here. This is for connecting multiple bases together. So you can pop that onto the bottom like that, and then if you have multiples, you can just plug the bases all together so they'll be in line like that. Then you have these weird L-shaped ones, and I'm not really sure, I can't figure out where these go or how these really can be useful for anything. Then you have these three other base parts here, which are just all a little bit different. This one is like male to male, and the other ones are male to female, but they have different holes at the top, and I don't really see the point of that. You have this extension piece, so you think, okay, so maybe I can do one of these. I can make this into a longer arm, and then, alright, it looks like that maybe fits into there, so we'll maybe do one of these, this female to female, or male to male there, plug that into there, and then plug that into there. But no, actually that doesn't fit. This hole, that's a little bit too big, so that's kind of weird, I don't know. Whatever the case, you can stack and combine things there until this will be plenty tall enough to have the figure standing up off of the ground there like so. Then among our actual accessories for that, we've got these little like yellow bar bits will actually plug onto the front of the knee. So these will go on here like this. And those are on there like that, pretty cool. You got these attachments which will go up here onto the head. These just plug into the side. And the thing about these, as with frame arms girls, these all these parts will all be, you'll be able to mix and match them between the different figures. So there you go, those are plugged onto the head like that. And then we have our kind of main weapon for this kind of chain gun here. Gatling gun, whatever you want to call it. And it's pretty nicely detailed. And we've got it here obviously in yellow and gray, and this will be held underhand here on the side like so, like that. So there's our Gatling gun for this. And you can see here on the back of that, just square peg here, square peg hole there. It's just made for this to be customized with like everything. All this stuff is, you're able to mix and match and move all this stuff around and customize this however you want with all the different parts and everything. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this. And then finally our kind of main backpack thing, and included on here is another weapon. Here you have just this small like kind of Uzi SMG sort of weapon. It's attached onto there. You can handhold that if you want. Otherwise, it's attached there onto the backpack, and this will just plug straight onto here. And there you go. So again, these kind of like shield bits here on the side, you can move that onto the other side if you want. And as you can tell, I mean, just these square pegs around here on everywhere. And this is just made of different parts that you can mix and match all of that for many, 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 many different options. But there we go. There is the phalanx, just according to the instructions before doing any sort of customizing or mixing and matching of that. But there's the phalanx. Let's take a look at the next box. So of our remaining two boxes, I'm assuming one will be the launcher and one will be the scout. I won't go through all as much of the details as I did for the first one. That was just to give you guys an idea of what they're like. We'll pop these open. Just make sure that they are what they should be. Let's see here. This set is different. So yes, this one would be the scout. So the base, that's all the same, and the main character figure is the same, but you can see we have a different face for that. We have a different optional face. So the main face is the same, but the option face is different. So that's pretty cool. It's different, and we also have the inclusion of a different hairpiece for this. So this one will have that. I'm not sure where that will be able to be plugged in, considering there's no spot at the back of the head for that. Checking the instructions, that's part of the parts for the head. So we got some white parts here for that as well, and then these gray parts, including like a knife there and gun parts. So you'll have this part which will like attach onto the sides of the head and then wrap around to the back, and then the ponytail part will plug onto that. So that's how that will work. Okay, cool. So there's that. And box 3 here should be the launcher. And yep, it looks to be the case. So this one got our gray parts there with the launcher parts, obviously, and some more of this kind of like a light seafoam green kind of color there for those parts. Let's see. For our figure, again, the main face is the same, but the option face is different. You have this kind of like crying face there, so that's pretty cool. I like that they give you different option faces for each of the 3 different ones. The same base there and instructions, same stickers for all of these and all of that. So let me get these other 2 put together and we'll take a look at them as well. Alright, and so here is the scout. We've got extra armor here on the front of the legs, on the side of the arm. Now that armor is not really going to be able to move to anywhere else, as that's pretty specific in the attachments. But the attachment on the front of the knee, on the side of the hip, and on the top of the shoulder are universal for some of the smaller parts for some of these kits. So like this little bit here that goes up on the shoulder, that could be attached onto the side of the hip or something if you wanted to. As far as his weapons, we got this big knife here, as well as this just kind of pistol with the little bayonet on there. And again, for the hair, it's got this piece which will wrap around the top, and then the ponytail just plugs onto the back of that. And these parts here on the side of the arm just don't really seem to want to stay on there too well. Anyway, here for the back, it's got this disc radome and this other radar thin thing there on the back. So again, this being the scout, it's a little bit more tailored for, I guess, just being scouts, doing different reconnaissance, sort of, I guess, like that. So there you go. There is the scout, and again, that's the optional face for that. And then the launcher, this one is pretty cool. We have these bits here on the knee, and you can take off these little parts here. It's kind of tricky. I'll have to use my knife here. There you go. And when you take off the cover of that, you have the 2 little missiles inside there. So that'd be like that. And then here at the top of the head too as well, these bits attached onto the head, you can pull off this part in the center of that. These are also just missile pods. You pull out this part, again, a little bit tricky to do so. There you go. Once that's out, again, 2 little missiles in there as well. So you got missiles, and then the main missile pods. These will open up like so, and there you've got loads of missiles in there. So very cool. It's basically a sort of like heavy arms, I guess, of the team. With all again, the way that these open up, obviously, are reminiscent of the heavy arms customs shoulders. But yeah, there you go. So pretty cool. Just going around quickly to the back on this one, it's just got these extra kind of little like thruster units there, I guess, on the back of there. And pretty nice detail on the back of the missile pods as well. And just to give you an idea of the size of these, here it is compared to a typical 1/144 scale Gundam kit. So you can see they're pretty small in size. So there you go. There is the Desktop Army Volume 1 Sylphy Series Beta set. Pretty cool. Pretty expensive though still. I mean, for, again, around $50 for this set of just the 3 little figures. They're really nice, and the pre-painting on them and the faces especially are really nice. Again, they really remind me a lot of just basically small little frame arms girls kits, sort of. Obviously much less complex in terms of the building of them, but just in terms of their kind of styling and customizability. Yeah, if you guys are into that, just mixing and matching a lot of parts and all of that, you can do that with these. And if you collect a bunch of them, I'm sure that just opens up the possibilities even more. So now, yeah, so do I think they're really worth it? I don't know, it's just kind of up to you. I don't think I'm going to be collecting loads of these, but I might buy some more later on in the future. They're pretty nice, pretty cool. If you guys do have any other further questions or comments about these, do feel free to leave those down below. Do you have some? Have you been collecting them? Are you interested in collecting them? Let me know. And that is going to be it for this video, guys. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.